What's up, JRD Nation? Today we will be teaching you the crisscross. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am Dan Whitmer. This is the Jump Rope Dudes, where we help you jump rope, get lean, and live more. So on today's video, we're doing the crisscross. We've done the crisscross just like we did the double under, but we're doing it again because you guys asked us to slow down the footage even more. And again, now that we're working with nicer cameras, we can give you guys slower motion tutorials so that you know exactly what to do when you pick up the jump rope. If you want the best jump rope experience on the market, especially for weight loss, and it's the jump rope we use in all of our videos, it is the cross rope for the set that we use the most and the one that you're gonna see in this video. Go to the link in the description and at checkout, enter Do The Thing for 10% off. Also, this cool gear that you've been seeing us wearing in our videos, it's finally available, so go to the link in the description and check out our store to get some of these designs. All right, let's put the slow motion on and get after it.
All right, guys, the first thing that I want to talk about is that doing any trick with a jump rope requires that you have the regular bounce form down. So I just want to talk real quickly about the regular bounce form and how it relates to doing the crisscross, and then we'll get into some more specific moves on the actual crossing of the hands. But first, what I want to talk about is when doing regular bounce, your knee should be slightly bent, feet are coming like 1 to 2 inches off the ground. My posture is straight up and down. My wrists are jutting out to the sides of my hips. My body is perfectly symmetrical, as you can see here from the side angle. So if you haven't gotten the regular bounce form down yet, that's totally fine. Up in the right hand corner, I linked our Start Here playlist, which will get you up and running on how exactly to jump rope. But we want to make sure that we're staying in the same place. We are, like I said, our posture is straight up and down. That is very, very important before you try to get any trick in, let alone a pretty complicated trick such as the crisscross. So now that you have the regular bounce form down, let's go ahead and start crossing the hands, obviously the most important part of the crisscross. So the first thing I would say is pick a hand that you want to come over the top. Now, some people alternate and do right and left. I, in particular, usually cross with my left hand over the top and my right hand under. So it doesn't really matter, to be totally honest with you. I just picked that, and that's what I feel most comfortable with. So when you're doing the crisscross, what you want to do when you are crossing your hands, the first step is choose one hand that comes over top and one hand that goes under. Now, what I like to think about when doing the crisscross is that you're putting the guns in the holsters. Now, if you've ever seen an old Western movie, do you see here how my hands go from wide? And then when I cross, it looks like I'm crossing my hands and putting the guns back into their holsters. So as I swing the rope here, all I'm doing is just taking my hands from outside to the sides of my hips and then crossing from my left hand to my right hip and my right hand to my left hip while keeping my left hand going over the top. That's very important. So when you guys are talking about just crossing your hands, the biggest things that you want to remember is one hand goes over the top, one hand goes underneath, and you're essentially just putting the guns in and out of their holsters. That is the entire motion. All right, next up, let's talk about the wrist figure eight. So we talked about putting the guns in the holsters, but to give you an even more detailed explanation of what this looks like, you want to do figure eights with your wrists. So if you can see my wrists here as they come in and come out, if you look at my hands, they're doing these little tiny circles, each on a side, each on their respective sides, so left and right. But then look, as you can see here in the slow motion as I'm crossing my hands, this is what I mean by figure eight. The right hand and the left hand are both doing circles, but the circles come together in the center as I cross and then go back out. So when I uncross, you can see my hands going out to the sides of my hips, and when I cross, look at my hands pulling back in and putting the guns in the holsters. So what I wanted to do here was just give you 2 points to illustrate the point that I'm trying to make about crossing your hands. So either think of it as putting the guns in the holsters or doing a figure eight motion with your wrist. But again, either way, you're going to have one arm that's predominant, or excuse me, you're going to have one arm that's your strong arm that is going over, one arm that is going under. Next, what I want to talk about is feeling the feedback of the rope. Now, the first thing is you might want to consider using a heavier rope, because when I say feel the feedback, that means as the rope is spinning around, you can feel the weight of it pulling you as it goes around in that circular motion. So this helps because if you can feel the feedback of the rope, you know where the rope is at all times, so that it makes crossing the rope or doing tricks much easier. With a lighter rope like a speed rope, you don't know when the rope is coming around because it's so light and you can't feel it, which makes it easier to mess up. So if I turn to the side angle here, you'll notice that when I use the feedback of the rope, I'm not rushing my wrists through the movement. I'm kind of letting the force of the rope lead my wrists and pull them around, and then I'm just using that simple, I'm just simply crossing my hands, but I'm not muscling the rope around and into that crisscross format because the rope is already in motion. So when we say feel the feedback, it just means slow down a little bit and don't rush your movements and feel the weight of the rope as it spins. A lot of times what happens when people do crisscrosses is they speed up their wrists too much because they're afraid of the rope not uncrossing, and that's when you can mess up. All right, guys, now we're gonna get into some practice here. So what I want you to do with the crisscross is obviously just practice this as much as you possibly can, but there is an easier way to go about doing this, and the easiest way is you'll see Brandon and I a lot doing consecutive crisscrosses, meaning we're just doing crisscross after crisscross after crisscross. Well, it's easier to walk before you run, obviously. So what we want you to do is what I'm doing here in the frame, where I'm just doing regular bounce and then I'm throwing in a crisscross every 4 or 5 skips. So I'm doing regular bounce, making sure that my form is right. As you can see here, my knees are slightly bent, my feet are only coming an inch or 2 off the ground, my posture straight up and down, elbows are bent, wrists are jutting out to the sides, and when I do that crisscross, I'm taking in all the fundamentals that we've just learned today. So it's just that simple wrist motion of putting the guns back in their holsters, taking my left hand over the top, pulling my right hand underneath, and feeling the feedback of the rope. Now, the last thing I want to say about this is the crisscross has to be a symmetrical movement. The rope has to look the same on both sides when it is crossed, or you're probably going to hit your feet and mess up. So we hope this tutorial was helpful on learning the jump rope crisscross. If you guys have questions or comments, please leave them below. Always happy to answer them and check them out. As a reminder, we have a whole playlist of jump rope tricks that you can learn on here. So go check out the double under and the boxer skip that we recently released. If you guys like this video, please go ahead and give it a like, followed by a subscribe if you want to continue receiving more information to help you jump rope, get lean, and live more. I am Dan Whitmer, and we'll see you on the next tutorial.